You with the cough. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our awesome new fun setup. And I'm going to let the team look at the stream for a second. I know before we say hi to everybody, I'll let you guys
Wow.
go over and take a look at our cool new overlay. We have some sick
It's
new
sick.
stuff.
It's so pretty.
It's so pretty. So this was done by Mr. Brian Podell over on Fiverr. If you want to check him out, please do. This was just a lot of fun getting this all put together. I'm going to move it over there now, even though I want to have my overlay like full screen in my front monitor all day. Oh, watch me be a professional and immediately kill my webcam as I'm moving windows around after editing everything. I'm so good at this, guys. Oh my gosh. Anyways, welcome to our 22nd session of Queen's Frost Crown. This is our adventure in Cyorion, and the first time we're telling people to like get out there and retweet and talk to us about it and let us know what they like and don't like about the overlays and stuff, and because we've been waiting for so long to make it very, very pretty, and so here it is, all super pretty. Yay!
It's very pretty.
It's very pretty. I'm so happy with it. But will everybody introduce themselves? We'll go around. Even though there are names and Twitter handles and character classes, if you watch the overlay, guys that are playing,
Oh, it
and you get
shifts.
to,
Look at
it
that.
shifts and twitches to your character name and everything.
Beautiful.
It's good. I love it. All right, but we'll start. Let's see if I can do this right this time. Oh, my hands are all cut out because of the drawing on the webcams.
We exist in a tiny box.
We exist in a little box now. I'm gonna start on my upper right with my good buddy Josh.
Hey, that's me. I'm checking out sounds, and I don't think you can hear the music, Ben.
Nope,
I don't know what's going on. But I'm Josh. I play Diggin, a Warforged rogue, and I'm working on the music, so hopefully that'll come over at some point.
It will very soon. Next up is Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I play Max Mill, the Tiefling Sorcerer.
And just below Sarah is Magic.
Hello, everybody. I'm Magic, and I play Tarak, the half-orc monk.
Back up to the top on the other side is Mr. Zach.
Hey everyone, I'm Zach. I play Doran, the Dragonborn Barbarian.
And below Zach, none other than Mr. Nate himself.
That's me. I'm Nate. I play Soren, the half-elf blade singer rogue.
And last but certainly not least is our newest member, and welcome to David again. Sorry, I realized I think we just did that last week. I'm like losing my mind here. But David.
Hi folks, I'm David Fielding. I play Batran, the human witch.
And David is saying to himself, yes, my first week back recurring as a cast member and my last week. Thank you all, goodbye. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that one individual song, Josh. My stream is just not being friendly with it. You have to play something else. I know.
You're not. You can't hear any of the music that I'm putting on.
That's really weird. Let me just reload my connection here. Maybe it's just being crummy because I had so much CRUD opened earlier. But we'll get started with a recap. Last week, while I'm doing this to no sound, you know, it's just me breathing heavily into the microphone like a professional that I am. Last week, Tarak and Diggin got together after Diggin had given him a gift and went out and got properly drunk in the city. I do recall that pretty much at the forefront of my mind because that's what Sarah led off with on our internal recap. Was Tarak got schwasty. Soren
has no idea what you're talking about, Ben.
Yeah,
Absolutely no clue.
Tarak would never do such a thing. This is all Diggin's fault. And then we had Soren and Maximiel headed off to a library to do some research. Soren very late at night with the coffee, staying up for even to a point of exhaustion the next day so he could study as much as possible. Following that, you guys get to head out to the festival Bela Tet, a yearly festival in the Ethereal Desert put on by the kingdom Ashahoya, which kind of runs the show in the desert with the great walking cities. And you guys enjoyed a rousing, supposed to be sporting match of siege ball that you promptly attempted to like kill each other with. that were against some old rivals of Maximiel, so you guys were not messing around. I think the first round went to them, and they like got into good position, and then Nate went first. He's like, I kneecap this guy. And Soren tried to bust a dude's knees. You guys ended up smashing those guys, because not only are you dirty players, but you're good dirty players because you know how to hide out and not get caught.
Just for the record, Ben, compared to other games that Tarak had witnessed, this one was, pretty mild.
Absolutely. This was the
I was gonna
most
say-
mild that you have ever witnessed, actually.
In character, first time I had heard of it was described as the most dangerous murdery game of all time, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eh.
And Tarak was like, oh man, we're gonna have fun. A couple people are gonna die, it's gonna be bloody. But no, it's like kids playing. It was worse than kids playing for where Tarak's from. He does not understand how this sport has fallen so low. You know,
Hey man, Diggin only saw his friends getting beat up and then his friends beating people up, so he was like, "Okay, time to kill."
yeah.
Fine. Okay.
Good news is music did start working as soon as I clicked back over to the tab. You guys won the siege ball match handily, and then you prepared for the evening's festivities. There was a big kind of ceremony that was supposed to go on, this pretty stoic event. Maximiel explained a few things that may be going on with it. She's just like, you guys all get to watch. We're going to put stuff on a big table. Didn't seem super important to y'all, but everybody got really quiet and kind of huddled around on the various like homes along the mountainside, and were bearing witness to this great exchange of goods. All the stuff was brought up from Ashahoya, from those folks, and then you guys were just waiting and waiting for them to bring out their offering and come accept yours. But as you watched from the hillside going back down to the Silvered Expanse, you all saw an individual come sloughing up the hill. As you stepped into the light, you noticed two huge slash marks across his face, like two cuts that ran almost parallel. As he sputtered something out and fell unconscious on the table. And that is where we're going to pick up in just a hot second. Don't have a battle map going up for this particularly, but I did want to let you guys know that there is a new world map available that we're going to activate here to show the northern Ethereal desert. So you guys kind of know where things are taking place. And right here in this mountain pass. And I say all this saying that I know that my battle map screen is not quite ready this second. I was going to fix it up on break if I had time. But the stream, I'll be able to check this out later. So we're going to have actually a little spot that you guys can see where things are. You guys able to see the at least the desert okay? There's going to be a point of interest popping up in just a moment.
Okay.
And double check your map notes. You should see something right there.
I have no vision on this map.
Oh, let me fix that really quick for you.
You are blind.
Boop,
Yes.
boop.
I'm still just looking at the campaign map.
There we go.
And I also just see black, but I tried to reload and now I'm suffering. Sorry.
We all suffer today. Nate, I tried pulling you the map. You may want to refresh. The tab is visible to everybody now. So you guys should be able to see. However, we can keep playing while you guys are refreshing and suffering. You got physical dice, right, Sarah? You good to go?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I know Maximiel had some
yeah.
things to go right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where we pick up is this lizard folk, shamanistic looking individual walks up and falls unconscious on this table. What are you guys doing? The rest of you are up decently high in the stands. You can kind of place yourselves in your mind where you think you're at, where you would have sat to watch this ceremony, but this is in a large semicircular opening that looks down towards the Silvered Expanse, which those of you that are live on the map is northeast of your position, is that huge ocean there.
Can I just like look around at the immediate people around us? But then I guess if I can, I'm not entirely sure how far down they are. Just try and get a read on like what the social vibe is right now.
Yeah, make an investigation check. And Maximil, you had a note specifically.
Yes, that as soon as I saw the guy and as soon as I saw that he was wounded, I wanted to rush up and cast Cure Wounds with my wand.
16 plus 4, I think 20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. So the immediate air around you is incredibly tense. Not hostilities towards each other. Everybody has a very great and deep concern about what they're seeing. The lizard folk in particular are very nervous about what's going on. They have no clue and starting to panic a little bit. Maximil, I am double checking something here.
Okay, so I see the North Ethereal, but I don't see any markers or anything.
Yep, double check your journal notes and make sure that the purple pin is clicked, so it's always got it active, and I'll double check the
The what?
permissions. Sorry, I was talking to Nate about being able to see the point of interest.
Yeah, it's clicked. It's just not there. That's okay.
You may be able to see it now.
Right there. There it is. Cool.
Yep.
There it is.
Just had to fix permissions, as usual. It's the one thing I've got a bug fix in for Foundry is when I put something into a folder, keep the folder permissions and let the new thing inherit them, please. Maximil, you run up and cast Cure Wounds using your wand on this individual, and other folks are starting to rush up there. There's no other lizard folk nearby. Typically the ceremony is observed by people. It's observed like by the individuals nearby, and there are some leadership that are available, but nobody's really in charge on that side except for the people that are coming up to visit you. And I'm glad that wasn't me, because that just reminded me to make sure I mute my phone. So
while Maximil is doing that, Tarak is going to try to get to as high of a vantage point as he can and use the eyes of the eagle to look in the direction from which that shaman came, and see if there's anything that he can spot.
Maximil, you cast Cure Wounds on this individual and you feel the spell take hold, but they are not breathing.
Medicine check? Can
Sure.
I do that?
Yeah.
Try and stabilize them?
Yep, make a medicine check.
Oh god. Did not mean to roll that, it fell into my lap. Okay. That's a 13.
You can't exactly get them stabilized. There's something wrong with the wound. Whether it's a lack of knowledge of like lizard folk, or that there's something else at work here, you're not sure what's going on.
I haven't done this in a while, but Diggin is going to kind of just stare out in this space and see what he sees.
Okay. Couple things really fast before we jump to that. Tarak, go ahead and make a perception check for me as you're looking.
At advantage? Or...
Yes. Yep, this is with a vision, so it is an advantage.
So that's first one's a 4. The second one is a 7 plus 4, that's 11.
You don't see anybody in particular moving down the hill behind where this individual came from. There's a slightly traveled path here. Appears that a lot of lizard folk travel on the road that's coming up to this clearing, but you don't see anybody moving beyond it.
Okay.
I need to message somebody a secret really fast.
Secrets.
Secrets. Shh.
Secret. I've got a secret.
Secret.
Oh, no.
This is the secret song that apparently we sing.
Secret.
Secret.
Okay. So, Diggin, you do observe kind of a version of that individual. It's on the ground, actively confused and scared and standing up and moving around.
I will approach slowly, just like walk by everybody. Kind of look at the confused individual.
And they look past you and immediately move towards Botrin, who's a little bit further situated up on one of the cliff sides. And you see
Just watch.
you see it
What is happening right now?
disappear into Botrin. And Botrin, how does that affect you?
That was interesting.
I will slowly approach Botrin. Did you just eat that?
I wouldn't say I ate it. Just experienced it.
You saw it too.
Very briefly. Very briefly.
Confused. Now look back to the limp body.
Maximil is still attempting to look over the body. A few people looked at you as you approached, but you didn't really get close enough. You kind of got to the outer edge of the circle as this soul, for lack of a better word, was maneuvering. People saw you approach and then watched you follow towards Botrin, and then anybody that may have been observing it. So actually, let me double check some passive perceptions really quick. That's a good point here, because there's a whole lot of stuff going on, but
Dick just awkwardly walk in between everybody and then like completely disregards everybody's like mental state and is just like fully focused on Botrin.
Doran, you're watching everything go on, and you kind of clock the situation with, Botrin and Diggin.
Botrin, what the hell was that?
I think because I don't have one tried to take me over, but that isn't going to happen.
Wait. We might not want to talk about this here. And now Diggin's like actively looking at everyone else to see if they've...
There are still a lot of people around you and definitely within earshot.
Are they like frenzied, focused on the dead body, or are they like looking at us for some reason?
They're speaking. Most of the lizard folk are speaking in their native tongue. There are various humanoids, tieflings, and others speaking in a mixture of common and other various languages, trying to... everybody asking what's going on, and some very confused looks glancing around. Nobody appears really panicked except for Maximil and the royal family. They are very concerned, and at this point, Maximil too, the lizard folk that kind of run things from the other side of the house, when they set up this festival and like manage everything, they've come up and have started to like gather around you guys and are trying to figure out what's going on as well. And they've got their shaman try to lean over the body and do what they can.
I just explain what happened and what I've been trying to do and failed to do.
Yes, you step back, young one, please. And there's three of them that start casting various magics and working over the body. Botrin, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
Trying to get there.
No problem. Yeah, just hit C to pull up your character sheet, and you should be able to select it. And then if you mouse over where it says wisdom, you should be able to do a wisdom saving throw. So as that, with a 10, oh, sorry. I stepped on your toes. I should have let you announce your roll. I'm sorry.
Sure. It was
My
a 10.
bad. With the 10, the soul passed through you quickly, and there was you feel this incredible influx of fear and panic and concern, not necessarily about, and you feel this all in the first person. So not necessarily fear about your own life, but fear of greater terrors and fear for your people. And it rushes through you incredibly quickly, and you see very brief glimpses of claws in the dark, just this gray-scaled vision of claws lashing out in the dark and striking you across the face. And then just a burning sensation in your stomach. And then there's just a massive flood of other emotions and thoughts and memories as you successfully kind of push out the soul as it came into contact with you. But little traces of the memories remained.
Do I associate any of them with rot?
You do not. No, actually. The feeling of burning in your stomach, yes, you do.
I immediately take out the little salve that I made with Nesbrite and then begin to dab it upon my skin.
Okay. Diggin, after the brief exchange, a few moments later, that image materializes again, and it kind of looks longingly, but then drips away.
Strange.
What is strange? Diggin, what are you looking at?
Not here. Maximil. They are dead.
And kind of at that same point, the three shaman that are kneeling around his body kind of take a deep breath and look around. He was attacked with a poison. There's no saving him.
How long ago was he attacked?
As you kind of step up to ask a question, Turok, Belrand takes on a stance you haven't seen before. He's normally this jolly, welcoming host for the Rosita. And he says, "Please, citizen, step back. Guards, make me a perimeter. Keep anybody at the royal family out." And you see the long scimitars on the end of poles of the weapons of Rosita come marching out of the crowd. People who had just kind of been casually enjoying the festivities immediately spring into action and create a perimeter directly around the Castile family, the table, and kind of push the rest of you at a distance, like riot police kind of keeping a barricade, and push the rest of you out to the sides.
So our group is outside of the perimeter?
Everybody except Maximil. And Maximil Belrand kneels down. "You realize how sensitive this issue is. Can your friends be trusted?"
Of course they can be. I trust them with my life and with everything. So, yes, they can be.
Their involvement weighs on your family's head if they betray us here.
My friends will not betray us. They won't betray me.
Belrand stands back up and comes to the guards, leans in and whispers and points out to the group of you, each of you individually. And the guards kind of walk up to escort you. They fill in the holes behind them as some step out to grab you and start to pull you towards the central of the circle. Each of you kind of gets a hand on you and says, "Come, Belrand needs you." As the crowd's kind of clamoring a little bit now and starting to get panicked, these guys are setting up a barricade to try to assess the situation.
Tarak, as we're being led in, says, we We only wish to help.
I understand. There's many more sensitivities around this than you know.
Clearly.
Can you tell us at least when he may have been poisoned?
The lizard folk are still working feverishly. He was attacked sometime in the last 12 hours, maybe. It was definitely on the road here. We think he was the only one, though. There's no evidence of a struggle. He got quickly attacked and left to die.
So when you say poison, you mean he was attacked with something that was poison, or was the poison ingested?
These claws here, and he points to the two marks across his face that run kind of the length from the eye all the way up the snout of this lizard folk shaman. And these were dipped in some poison.
So you suspect foul play then?
He was attacked, clearly.
If
He's-
beasts attack mindlessly, you suspect there's something that
No, this was an attack. There's no beasts that attack like this.
So the question then becomes why? Why would someone attack him?
There's not many with two claws that attack like this. It seems like you. He points to Doran. Hold up your hand. Its claws like this, of a humanoid size, but he doesn't have 2 fingers on that hand. Doran, how many fingers do you have? Just as an aside.
Doran has 5, like a humanoid, but they are claw tipped. So
They're deep enough, like lizard folk or dragonborn claws, but you would not take 2 and slash at somebody. That seems awkward.
So we're looking for a 2-fingered man who has a penchant for poisons.
Can we examine the wound, or can I examine the wound?
Yeah, you can go ahead and examine it if you'd like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. Maybe it was some sort of weapon. Have any of you seen anything that attacks with 2 hooked points?
1 hooked point, sure. No, not 2 though.
Didn't we see like a wand or something that had like a hand on it? That
I have the creepy little burning hands wand, yeah.
yeah. Does that
But
have
it's-
like the 2 fingers, or is it just the one that's pointing?
It's a gnarled up single hand that's been burned.
Okay.
And those gashes are fairly parallel, so they could not have just been one single slice with something that happened twice.
What was your medicine check, Vatran?
25, natural 20.
Oh, yeah. Vatran,
Nice.
you confirmed that they were made almost exactly at the same time, and the tear looks as if it was something that was struck at once. And it is, you support his thesis that, high enough up on the face that if there were more claws on the hand, more of them would have got him somehow.
Are the edges of these wounds, are they infected, or are they exhibiting any kind of evidence of rot? Is there anything that we recognize from something that we saw with Amana before? Is there any sort of like rusty brown element to this, or at least that's what Batron is looking for at this point? He's trying to connect his fear with what's happening here.
So with a 25, you actually get a pretty good idea that this is a naturally made poison.
Okay.
That deals necrotic type damage. Like, it does actually rot out the insides. So once it gets into the bloodstream, it starts to get into your heart and your stomach, and it turns against you and starts to kind of eat your organs from the inside.
So can I tell if these were actually made with claw or bone, or was this actually made with a edged weapon of some type?
Man, with the 25 again, yeah, it was a really good roll. Yeah, you're able to tell that this is this is a honed claw, likely. It doesn't have as good of as clean of a cut as you would see on an edged weapon, but it is a very sharp claw. Somebody who has maintained their claws, so it appears much more clean than a wild beast's claws would be, as they sharpen them wood. This is somebody who has taken them and filed them meticulously to be very lethal.
But it's still a tear rather than a splice.
Yes.
And then coated them with a poison.
Correct.
Can we check the body to see if there are any markings that were left by the killer? Like, see if there are any coins left or something like that? Marks, other scars?
Yeah,
Does
you
he have
can.
the gifts that he was supposed to bring?
You can make an investigation check, and Soren, the Belrin, will respond. He was, he likely would have been one of the convoy leads. They have a group that comes and retrieves our gifts and provides theirs, and then they head back in the same night.
So we have one dead man, and we were expecting a convoy.
We were expecting at least 20.
Diggin will go to where that guy came from and just look down. I'm assuming down the hill, or if we're on like a dune or something.
Yeah, you're in
where that person was coming from.
You're in a pretty firm rocky outcropping in the otherwise this is a fairly rocky desert area. So there are mountains. There's some sand that kind of gets in places, and it's a little bit drifted up on the sides where you could climb up and sit softly. But this is a pretty flat rocky piece. Going beyond it, it's caked past it. It's well traveled, so it's not loose sand that goes on it. This is actually like the dirt and stone. And you can kind of push past the guards and see that there is a path that's cut through some of the sparse vegetation that peppers the landscape behind him. It's a little hard to see, though, any further out, just because it is nighttime at this point.
Looking down at the path, Diggin will just speak out. Do you know where they came from?
The village is on the coast. It's called Salmix.
How far is the village? How far of a walk?
Salmix is a 3-day walk from here. It is a pilgrimage for these individuals.
So this must have happened much closer to here than to the village itself.
I would believe so, yes. Maximum,
Is
what was
there
your
anything
investigation
about
check?
12 hours or perhaps a shorter walk, since he was hurt, maybe 6 hours from here, that is in the direction of the village?
More sand. Plenty of sand, that's all.
I'd like to spend a sorcery point to be able to re-roll this ability check.
Oh, sure. You go right ahead.
Not much better. Investigation will get me to a 10.
My phone keeps buzzing, and I'm sorry, I keep looking at it because I'm like, man, who's blowing up my phone right now? I installed a Ring doorbell. It's blowing up my phone because my kids are playing out front of it. And it's just like, your doorbell has motion.
Squirrel moved past.
I know. I was like, I thought this would be helpful, and it's just like, no, we're gonna buzz you constantly. You said a 10.
Yeah.
A 10, you kind of go through him as best you can. His garments are strange. He's got little pieces of bone hanging and natural, like cured leathers and some stuff made of reeds. The garment's hard to find where he might store stuff, but he doesn't appear to have anything on him.
Specifically, I was looking for like things of Kirimi or Stella Tenuum, anything like that.
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
What is the fastest way to communicate with the village that the city has, the walking city? Do they have any?
It's maybe an hour walk the other direction outside of the cliffs. It's parked right outside the mountains.
No. I mean the village where the creature came from, the lizard creature. I mean, do they have a way to message them, or?
Salmix is houses our highest order of shaman. Our most potent magic users are sent there to practice and learn. There are none that can contact them in our groups now. We are mostly pilgrims along the mountains this side of your desert.
So we
But
can
why
only
would someone
surmise
want to kill this
Yeah.
pilgrim?
Then I'm afraid you're going to find many more of these spirit shaman wandering around.
We don't have much to offer you, but would hope that you may be able to lessen this. And Belrand here and there, please, goes, we will speak of it, and Rosita will send out an expedition. Please, don't trouble yourself with it. If you would like to tend to your people, we'll take care of this. You may bury him according to your traditions, and we will likely be sending these fine folks here, as I don't think many of my people are equipped to handle such a delicate diplomatic situation.
We're happy to help, of course. We do take payment up front, though.
Would you not, Soren?
Soren.
No.
He's not wrong, Maximil. This is if the priests of Salmex have been attacked on the open road, and you know the great danger this spells for all of us.
Yes.
We've accepted 3 jobs thus far and gotten paid for none of them.
Soren.
Soren, it is not about the money. It is about doing good.
How late at night is it?
It's after 10 o'clock.
Is anyone holding a torch?
Yes, there are lots of torches.
Diggin will just go and grab someone's torch. I need this.
It's some roll a d20, Diggin. Just roll a d20 for me.
Grabbing some random civilian's
15.
torch.
15. Okay, so it wasn't a little kid. Yeah, it's a younger tiefling who's like holding it for a friend, and they're just like discussing it at the torchlight, and you grab it. They're like, hey, oh, never mind.
Oh, is that a Yurig?
Diggin will start to walk kind of down the road and look back to the party. We need to investigate.
Diggin has the right idea, and I grab my lantern and light it up and start following.
I would speak with you all privately first.
We don't need to go far. We can come
Yes,
back.
just a bit of scouting then, as it were.
Time is of the essence.
Go ahead. We'll wait here for you.
Diggin will be back. And he'll start to go down the hill.
I follow and I cast dancing lights to make my little sparkling lights, and I flood them out as wide as they can go so they kind of do this sweeping motion like searchlights.
I will creep along with them.
Okay.
I'll
Then-
hang back with, what's his name? Valorant.
So those of you that are going can select one person this time without telling each other what your bonuses are to investigation to roll at advantage, because the rest of you will be aiding for an investigation check as you kind of dig around and see what you can find.
So who's going?
So far I got Botrin, Diggin, and Maximil are going.
Before Tarak goes, so who said that he would like to speak with us? Who was that?
That was Belrand Castile, the
Okay.
the trade prince of the city.
Tarak will turn to Belrand. Is there anything we should know before we set out?
Don't leave yet. We'll discuss it quietly. Just it seems your friend is just making sure there's no immediate danger.
That is correct. From down the hill.
But
It's shift to roll with advantage, yes?
yes, hold shift to roll with advantage. Who are you having? One person for the group is going to investigate. Who's doing it? You guys can choose between the three
Volunteer
of you.
as tribute.
Yeah,
Okay.
Diggin.
So how this works is Diggin's going to make the roll since you two are with him helping him out. You're going to grant advantage to the roll. You're going to aid him.
Gotcha.
Let's go. Investigation 21.
Not terrible.
21. So you do a little bit of looking around the immediate area. You don't find anything in particular that's evidence of anybody else besides the one person coming up the path here. You do find a walking stick that was dropped that appeared to be covered in sweat and a little bit of blood. It's about the right height for that individual. It's kind of lost grip on that last huff up the hill, so no more than 100 feet down the path you find that. And a little bit further back, you do find kind of a cloth mask that you're reminiscent of a few of these other lizard folk wearing to kind of help cover up from the sun and keep some of the dust out of their mouth and their nostrils. And you find it with a little bit of blood on the top and then one additional claw mark through it.
A third?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. No additional tracks or anything around.
No tracks of anybody
Yes.
else having been here. This appears to be his final walk, and he was sloughing things off to make the last few steps easier.
And how far away do you think that is? Like 15, 20 minutes of a walk? That we took?
You probably walked it down a good 15, 20 minutes. But you found that stuff within the first 150 feet. Those last couple items.
Okay.
And then as you traced further down, you didn't find anything else.
Yeah, just immediate area. I wanted to see, make sure we're in the clear. See if there was any, people dead down the hill that we didn't even notice.
There was nobody else dead down the hill.
I'd like to grab the mask.
Okay.
I figured we'd pick him up and
Yeah.
have the stick and whatever the mask. And we'll take it back.
Okay.
And just look to him. Unfortunate.
Very. What you found at this point, the lizard folk have kind of taken the body off, and the crowd's been spoken to. Those of you that stayed behind heard the lizard folk elders that were there telling people to go home, get some rest and come back and enjoy the festivities the next day. That something tragic has happened, but it's being investigated. And to not let it ruin such a wonderful and long historied and noble celebration between these peoples. So the crowd has more or less been calmed for now.
While they're off investigating, is there one of the lizard folk that's kind of been drawn into this circle of noble family or whatever?
Yeah, and they're prepping the body to leave. They're not going to be sticking around.
Is there any of them that look less busy?
There were only 3 that really kind of came in here. Of the 3, one of them is clearly younger than the others and appears to be observing and trying to take as much in as he can. Very much sings Wizard's Apprentice to you.
Got it. I kind of want to walk on over to that one and not so much draw his attention to me, let him still focus on whatever they're trying to learn, but just kind of probe questions. Just so, why do you think they might have taken out this convoy? What?
I have no idea. No. I mean, they wanted it for themselves. There's not... We don't have much use for gifts of gold. I've never understood why gold and treasures were the desires of this exchange, but I don't understand.
Is
we
that
don't.
what was being brought this time? Nothing
No,
else?
there's usually bits of technology that the Ashahoyans develop, water purifiers, things like that we found quite useful, but it's not nothing that we don't already have. Just better versions, the newest. We live simple lives. We don't use money. We trade and we work for each other.
Right. No, that makes sense. But Something like a water purifier in the desert is highly covetable. You understand this?
Yes, but most people have access to them here. Um, some bandit that was lost, this would be a strange place for him to sit out and attack. The road to Salmix is walked by pilgrims. They usually carry nothing.
When there was nothing else of interest in the, I suppose, offerings.
From the Ashahoyans? Oh, that would be going back home to them. I'm not sure.
This might be a bit outside of your purview, but do your people have enemies?
We have some. Some pirates attack some of our northernmost cities. Luckily, we have the Silvered Expanse. Most don't go through there. It's too dangerous. It's very rare. It's hard to survive here against the edge of the sea, next to the desert. It is slightly more lush on this side of the mountain, but it's still a tough life.
Other than pirates, nothing of interest, though? No
The pirates...
assassins or thieves or anything like that?
No. Our last enemies were the Ashahoyans thousands of years ago.
Has there been
hundreds
any
of
internal
years ago,
struggle?
The typical clan and tribal struggles of who owns what farming resources, or a lost head of cattle or sheep, but no. Nothing. We occasionally scuffle with the kobolds off to the west, but then my
what?
goodness. Sorry, the something else just totally escaped me. Yonties. The Yonties and their temples farther to the west, but everybody avoids them. They're just not nice people. They don't get along well with outsiders. So we give them their space. The kobolds occasionally, they get hungry and they'll come and capture a loose cattle, but that's the price of being a shepherd. Most of
Nothing
us
like this, though.
no.
Attacking
No.
entire caravans, killing people
Not-
with poison and claws.
Not this far into our homeland and in such a sacred place as the cliffs here. Bilitet has been a foundation of our peoples, and it's well within our kingdoms. This is what the heart of what you would call our kingdom and our empire. Our villages span this coast, and this is at the center. It's unheard of for something to attack this far in, unless they were sending a message not to us. Excuse me. What?
Kids.
Really difficult because this is the one time I try not to have them it's really difficult. It's the one time I try not to have them come on camera because I'm like, hey, I'm streaming to the internet. Please don't get on the camera. I'm too young for that. And I'm like, stay there. I'll talk to you over that way, please.
So yeah, after that, I guess I would just kind of quietly step back and let them focus on whatever they're doing. Everyone else to come back.
Tarak was listening to the exchange, and he walks over to Soren and quietly says, Soren, I think perhaps our host can help shed a little more light on it. It seemed like they wanted to talk to us.
Yes. I think there might be something he's not letting on about.
Or is the group coming back yet, or
yeah, about
Or still
15 minutes later or so, they kind of come back. It takes them a little while to get everything sorted out, but they eventually make their way back to you all with the two things that they found.
Is there anyone grieving as we come back? Anybody do we still see the body somewhere? Like you said, they moved it, but is it still within?
It's within eyesight, but really at this point, the Castiles are organizing for their offering to be moved. They're talking the logistics of, should we take it down to the village? Should we wait here for a resolution? And really, that's a private conversation with Maximiel and the Castiles right now, as they're waiting to kind of brief you guys on what the situation really is.
But is there any like lizard folk up here taking care of the lizard folk that has been perished?
There's within 20 feet of you or so, you can see some working by torchlight to prepare the body for transportation.
I will take the walking stick, as I don't think it has much value, to the case, and I will go over to them and kind of offer it and bow my head and just say, sorry for your loss. This was found.
Well, he left it, and if he shed it of himself before he perished, he didn't need it. And you can have it for yourself or give it to someone. I'm sure he left it so another weary traveler could find it.
Awkwardly will grab it back. Okay. Just kind of turn and walk. I have a stick.
You have a
Digging found
stick.
it.
Yep. You have a lizard folk sized walking stick.
It's a cane.
Yeah, after Diggin has that little interaction though, Belrund kind of waves off his guard and they spread out as you all kind of walk towards the edge of the darkness. And then one of his court assistants, one of the magicians that would work with him, the wizards in the court, kind of comes up near the edge of the darkness and puts dancing lights out where the guards can see, and they form a very big perimeter around you guys to kind of keep anything away from coming within earshot of you. And then double check something really fast. The after the dancing lights are kind of placed out there, and the other one walks up, and second one places silence over the group of you, so that not only can no sound really get out, there's a good distance of visibility all the way to the edge of this perimeter. And Belrund kind of makes sure that all of you are cramped into this really, really small area as he has silence cast around you all. It's a 20-foot radius sphere, but it's a little cramped with Belrund's large size and the 6 of you packed in there, as well as the 2 court wizards.
So wait, so like we're just standing in like a cone of silence, like mouth flapping at each other, and nothing is.
Yes.
Okay.
Belrund kind of looks to Maximiel. How much did you let on to your friends and tell them the information you were raised on, or should I start from the beginning?
I gave them a little bit, but not too much. I mean, that it's an important thing for the peace between lizard folks and the people of Ashahoya.
That is correct, for the most part. Most people don't remember why we put on this event, and it's better that they do not. Some 1,300 years ago now, there was a war between the Ashahoya and the lizard folk as we claimed territory moving north, and it raged all over the northern sea against the Silvered Expanse. The lizard folk were in league with another group of individuals named the Akuros, who likely none of you have ever seen or heard of. They're very, very secretive and reserved creatures that live exclusively in the Silvered Expanse. During that time, there was also supposedly some great dragon exploration, and a very old gold dragon had made its roost amongst the Silvered Expanse. And it did not take kindly to the groups of us warring, to a point of where this dragon, Simiposi, woke from their slumber destroyed an Akuros temple, destroyed lizard folk villages, and burned an entire city of Ashahoya to the ground. So this treaty was reached. We brokered peace, and the reason we exchange gifts is to encourage diplomacy between our peoples and continued cooperation. However, the great gold deposits are taken to the Akuros high shamans, who then give it to Simiposi.
Huh. So the gifts aren't for you.
No. Ashahoya pays to keep Simiposi slumbering.
Is that entirely necessary? I mean, I understand the point of it not liking the fact that you were at war and making a point of burning both sides, but has anything happened if you haven't given it tribute, I suppose?
This would be the first time in almost 1,000 years that we have not given tribute.
After seeing two dragons fight pretty closely, does it look like the wound on the thing was dragon claws?
There's no way that a dragon claw would have eviscerated him.
Okay.
You've been close enough.
Size.
You've been close enough to the dragons that you know that those ancient dragon claws are, 1.5 feet long each, and would have absolutely cut the man in half.
Sarah.
Those two little scratches, nope, not at all.
So something else with claws killed this guy.
Can you describe the Akuros for me? What do they look like? What are they like?
They're an interesting breed. I've read about them. I've never met them. I know that they're tall. They have wings. They worship Simiposi. They're kind of distantly related to lizard folk.
Do they have claws?
They do have claws, I think. I've never seen one. Maximil, I don't even think we have a book with a picture of one.
I haven't seen one.
No.
Do you have any suspicion why they would want to attack him?
No.
Do they have anything to gain by it?
They fear Simiposi as much as we do.
But Simiposi was going to be getting the gold anyway. So why attack your caravan to steal the gold?
Why attack
to hasten
them?
it to where it was already going?
Yes, why attack the individual that was leading the group to come to it? This we expected 20 people. We expected a large group. This is one man. There's no guarantee that he wasn't coming here for aid, and he was attacked on the way here after they had raided his village. For all we know, Salmix could be in ruins.
Wait a second. The convoy, as you say, was headed here.
Their convoy would come here. They exchanged gifts with us, just as a sign of goodwill. The exchange has evolved over the years and the centuries into this exchange of goods and diplomacy between our peoples.
But then they would deliver the gold back.
The lizard folk shaman of Salmix would bring it to the Akuros, who would then take it high up into the cliffs above the Silvered Expanse.
So did they have gold coming here, or are you giving them gold?
No, generally their gifts are tapestries and cloth and bead and linen and wool works, and they make a lot of the fine tapestries you see in our sales, the works on the edges of the city. They're fine craftsmen of cloth.
So then
And
a
then
deal
you
has not been
exchange
made.
those.
Oh, sorry, that was.
Yep, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Toronto.
Okay. And you exchange those gifts for the gold.
Yes, we give them gold, we give them some technology, we show them, we give them wonders that we've discovered across our travel in the sands, and they take some of it, the things that are intended for them, and the gold itself goes to Simiposi.
So a deal has not been made with Simiposi.
Simiposi struck the original deal with us.
No,
So
you're offering what you're doing today.
No, this offering would be taken to Simiposi sometime in the next couple of weeks.
So then they got ambushed
I don't know.
before.
There's a there yes. This we expected people here to pick up what we were offering to take back to Simiposi.
Right. So why attack the convoy now?
Why indeed?
Have there been any conflicts between you and the lizard folk recently?
None. None that I'm aware of. The Council of Ashahoya has not reported anything, and all cities were saying that everything was fine.
Is there any species or any being outside of your three groups that would gain any sort of advantage from that kind of situation?
The dragons? The only thing I can think of.
What would the dragons gain from this?
don't-
Simiposi wants gold
And peace.
and peace. Good night's rest, as far as it seems.
As far as we know, the only other group that would know that Simiposi even lives there would be anyone who has stumbled upon their tomb or their resting place, not tomb, I apologize, their resting place, their hoard, and wanted to raid it for themselves, or the only other potential would be dragons that may know Simiposi is somewhere over here. I see no reason that now to suddenly stir up a gold dragon.
Are there any factions within the Simiposi that may not be happy with the original deal as it was struck and would try to somehow sabotage it?
And just to clarify, Simiposi is the name of a dragon. The Akuros is the name of this race.
Kuros, sorry. Yeah,
Nope,
the
just wanted
Akuros,
to
that's what I
clarify.
meant.
I know. I'm just, every time you guys find something new, I'm just like, hey, here's a whole bunch of names at the exact same time.
None of them are spelled how you think they are.
Nope.
Nope.
So
Um,
so Brock asked if there's any. So the Akuros are the ones that do have the wings and do have the claws, right?
I've never even seen an Akuros. I couldn't tell you if there's political factions at play. From what I understood, they're a reclusive shamanistic society.
That worship this dragon.
I mean, I want to take a step back and make sure I'm getting this right. So, you and the lizard folk both bring hordes of treasure to a meeting place that you have decided upon here, correct?
Correct.
Correct. You take these tapestries and other works of cloth and fine things of that sort back to your cities,
Correct.
right? Okay. You bring gold. The lizard folk take the gold, bring it to the Akuros. The Akuros bring it to this slumbering golden dragon.
Yes.
I guess I just don't understand what the Akuros get out of it, or why
Maybe
there's
the
this
Akuros have-
strange show of presentory diplomacy.
Festival brings good trade. We trade between nations, and it's nice to be able to have an event like this every year.
But if the dragon wants gold and peace, why is it that only you give the gold?
That was the deal that was struck. Lizard folk and the Akuro serve, and we pay.
So they're a little bit closer to this thing than you are.
Much closer.
Is it possible
Perhaps-
that it was us that did this? Some Ashahoyan folks who are unhappy with the trade deal who knew about it?
Oh, I thought you meant us.
Dickon did not do that.
I mean, the Ashahoyans, not the Midnight Parliament.
I could not think of any reason anyone would want to upset an ancient gold dragon. The last time it was upset because we were scuffling, it killed thousands.
So here's the thing, if I might inject a thought. Your cities all operate independently, yes? You have a council collectively to make decisions and all that, but
Yes.
you are independent for all intents and purposes.
Yes.
It is your turn to be here at this gathering table.
Yes.
What better time to sabotage an enemy than when they are expected to be delivering a large chunk of gold to a gold dragon? So that they take all of the blame, and it's purely coincidence that it happened. No ties to them. Who are your enemies?
We cooperate well with the other Ashahoyan cities. We trade and my daughter is desired by many, the jewel of Rosita. And, as you know, she's quite a genius and is, of an age that she should marry.
Can I?
Yeah.
Can I insight check this? Because this seems like total deflection and like just changing the subject of like, my daughter's really pretty. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
Yes! 17 plus 8, 25.
There is nothing in his body language that suggests that he would think that he has any enemies. And from what you've seen of Melindra and the fact that her people adore her, and rumors around town just having been around her and talked about her, there's this particular city that they have a trade queen that rules over the city and has tried to ask for Melindra's hand multiple times and has failed to win her as a prize, and she views her very much as an object to be won.
Or stolen.
Yes. So there's a whole adventure about that.
These other two factions, the lizard folk and the other winged creatures, who do they pay homage to? Do they or do they what deities do they worship?
They worship St. Posi. The lizard folk have other lesser deities, but after witnessing a great gold dragon destroy large groups of your population, they tend to follow the biggest lizard, not to be profiling by any means or be rude, but they worship Simaposi as a god.
I mean, I'm standing right here, but it's fine.
He
These
looks
Akuros,
very concerned about that comment. He doesn't understand at all.
yeah. These Akuros, could it be possible they are tired of serving Simaposi and are constructing this elaborate plot in order to not have to make these deliveries anymore?
That would be an interesting theory, which is something I'd be willing to pay you to find out.
Well, we're more than happy to help, but I do believe that Diggin has the right idea and time is of the essence.
Very well. You asked for payment in
It's a
advance, and he
three-day journey?
He kind of clicks at one of the mages, and the mage steps out of the silence circle, walks over to the treasure hoard, and comes back with a large sack, and he takes it out of his hand, and he goes, and drops it on the ground.
I don't
Payment in
think we're
advance.
comfortable with being paid from the treasure hoard that was going to a dragon.
We have other coins that will be coming to replace these. Payment in advance.
More than happy to take it. No, we don't need
Thank
payment.
you very much for your gracious gift,
You're
and
you're-
we appreciate it greatly. We would do it for free, however, thank you very much for this, sir.
Diggin just grabs it.
Find out what happened to the Akuros. Find out if Salmix is still in one piece. And get us some answers, by the gods.
If we can.
And please don't wake up the giant sleeping gold angry dragon who burned down a city last time. I don't really want to lose Rosita to a dragon.
If there is one thing we definitely do not want to do, it is deal with a dragon. Trust me on that one.
I'm tired of dealing with dragons.
I've dealt with one
That
for
is-
30 years. So.
This
You
was
have an
nice.
expert amongst your midst.
Hey, Ben,
Yes.
would I know if Katya wanted Rosita
No,
gone?
no, Katya. So Katya specifically was not the city that wanted to marry Melindra.
But did I hear my parents or my uncle talking about anything like that ever?
Um,
Not that I was paying attention, but did I?
there is, man, this always makes you want to introduce flashbacks from Blades in the Dark, which is a system where you can like introduce a flashback for like basically taking some damage or something equivalent, and you can be
An
like, oh, I totally
intelligence
did that.
check?
Yeah. Go ahead and make a history check though to see the depths of what you know.
Okay, okay. I think I'm good with history. Wait, now let's roll this one. That wouldn't matter because I rolled a natural 2,
Woo!
You were paying attention.
which gives me a 6.
Yeah. I mean, in all the conversations you sat around and were a part of and listened in on, Rosita was talked about favorably. There was always some scoffing at how knowledgeable they were and how they held themselves in high regard, and they turned their back on magic to pursue the sciences and the mechanical, and it's not the case. Like, you've seen both cities intimately, and you know that that's not the case at all. But there is a bit of a stigma against nerd, kind of a little bit. Yeah.
City of preps.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's a little bit of a stigma about it, but, I mean, it wasn't to a point of they'd be willing to risk an international incident by awakening a gold dragon to go after their enemies. As I chuckled to deflect from the clear story. No, I'm kidding.
Diggin will take the bag of however, whatever this is, money, gold, coin,
Yeah.
gems. No, didn't look at it. And
Gems?
We'll walk by Turok and put it in his hands and then pat him on the back.
Let's see how heavy this is for
Tarak is
Turok.
going to look at this and just kind of smile and put it inside his cloak for now.
Yeah, it's about another
We shall
5
divide
pounds.
it up later.
5 pounds?
About another 5 pounds of coins.
Oh, dang. Sheesh.
Turok, I've gone ahead and added the 250 platinum pieces to your inventory.
It's not bad.
Is that a lot?
It's not bad.
Oh my Lanta!
We might be fighting an ancient gold dragon, so it's not bad. It's
Oh
who
my
knows?
We're not fighting a dragon. We are not.
No, we might die running from a dragon. So actually, Diggin and I might make it away. Actually, Turok too. Yeah, the 3 of us are fine.
I hope that is enough to cover your expenses. I presume that Maximil, having spoke so highly of you, that you are all capable folk.
It is acceptable, yes.
And will see this through to completion.
Yeah, of course.
To the best of our abilities, yes.
In our defense, we may get whisked away somewhere, but we will try to make it back to Rosita as quickly as possible. Our history has taken us.
Rosita will
places we didn't wanna
stay
go.
here until you return. Come
Oh,
back
that's good.
post haste.
Worry not. The Midnight Parliament is on the case.
Diggin's already walking down the hill with the torch.
Oh,
We better
Diggin.
follow him.
Wait, just one moment, and a young lizard folk comes running up. This young man here knows the way, and can escort you to Salmix if you stray from the trail. It's a clear trail, but he was born in Salmix and has been serving elsewhere, and the elders said that he would be willing to make the journey with you and knows the way.
Never say no to a local guide.
Yes. So we head to Selmix, make sure it's still existing, and then if not, we try to head toward the Yakuros?
The Silvered Sea. Expanse. The Silvered Expanse.
Yes, I think
The lizard folk
reactive.
immediately walks up to Turok, as he had been spying who has the coin purse. They said you'd be willing to pay a little bit for my services, yes, and that you were, the term was lush with cash. I don't know. I've never
I thought
traded
people
money
don't
before.
use money.
They don't, but I have greater aspirations. I plan to leave at some point and would like money to travel in Ashahoya. Yes, please.
We can pay you upon completion.
I thought this was kind of an upfront deal as I saw a large sack of money come your direction.
For us,
Oh,
up front, for us,
it was
we are
up front.
experienced
It's an upfront
adventurers.
deal.
We have history as
D&D
well
is
as
such a
a
capitalistic game.
successful whereabouts.
Hmm.
You will
So
get paid.
Yes.
You
Tarak
will
is
be
going
to just
compensated well.
Give him a look and try to intimidate him.
Salmix has some places that you require you to know their successful whereabouts as well, and I want to make sure that you get there. Go ahead and make an intimidation check at this guy's clear attempt at persuasion. Ooh, he might not be budging. Let's see.
Oh, that's wrong die.
Oh no. I rolled a D100
That is
instead of a D20, he says.
Yeah, no. It's a 15 total.
He got a 16. He's like, listen,
Wait, Tarak, did you use your strength instead of your charisma?
intimidation is
I did
charisma.
not.
Should be charisma
Yes.
based unless he has something for...
I always thought that it was said that if you're trying to be more intimidating using your looks, that you can use strength instead of charisma.
So my personal rules on that one, unless
Gotcha.
Tarak's got a really good reason for it, I let barbarians use strength instead of charisma because...
Oh, should I be the one intimidating?
No, I'll divulge that information
I mean,
after
he is
Tarak
a
has already
half-orc.
shown. I mean, you've got it with charisma and you're proficient in it. If you want to use your strength and get your big flex on,
Tarak would like to use his strength and get his big flex on because that will bump it up to 20.
okay, well I go for Tarak too. Sarah's. This is the problem with all these DMs having all these wiles.
Sarah.
Could make
You
him
get it.
re-roll it.
Blaring.
We're gonna go ahead and
Use
go
his
with it.
strength and he can re-roll
You
it.
can use your strength. You can go ahead and re-roll it, and I will also re-roll,
re-roll
to
it?
be.
Okay.
I will re-roll
So
to be
not the
fair.
original? Okay.
Use your strength, and I'll
Alright.
still consider. I'll still do this here.
Okay, so it's. I guess it's 8 plus 7, which comes out to 15.
Now he loses by 1 instead of winning by 1. Listen. You want to get there?
Brutal.
They want me to help you get there. I was going to charge you 2 gold for the guide fee because it was 2.5 days, but let's just settle on a gold. Huh? Come on. Yeah, I saw that big bag.
Take up-
It's not.
I'll take out my last
Tarak reaches
piece of
into
gold.
his own coin purse and gives him a gold.
I was gonna say,
There
does
we
Diggin
go.
hear it?
Yeah, I'll take out my last.
He's
piece
really
of gold
talking
and
with just Tarak.
Okay.
slap it against his chest, like get us there in one piece.
I was about to chuck a gold piece at him from down the hill.
Wait, so now he's getting 3 gold
No,
pieces?
no.
didn't hear it.
It was just
No.
Tarak.
Yeah.
A wise decision, Mr. What did you say your name was?
Tarak.
Tarak. I am Yasuks. It is a pleasure to meet you.
We shall see.
Totally different than expected, as normal. Just because I didn't want to call him Just Sucks. I liked Yasuks better.
Yes. Jaw sucks.
Before we set off, is there somebody who looks to be like one of the advisors? So Tarak is going to approach him, and say, "I have a favor to ask. Please
Go ahead.
find the goblin named Quaxix.
Apologize.
Tell him."
One of the advisors for the city, not the lizard folks.
Yeah, the city.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking to lizard folk. I was like, lizard
No,
folk
no,
don't know
no.
no goblins.
Yeah. Goblin named Quaxix, and tell him that he has some more time to complete the assignment that I tasked him with.
Belrund is really the man you were talking to. I will, I'll send a guardsman to.
Oh, I wasn't going to bother him with it.
He's really the only one that was like kind of leading the conversation with you guys.
Gotcha.
So he would be the guy if you have a request. He'd be more than happy. He did ask you guys if you needed anything, so I'm more than happy to help you get in contact with somebody, especially if you made an order for some of the fine goods from my city. I'll let him know he has some more time and to hold on to that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. With that, you have a guide who normally you don't have advantage, but they have a path for you to follow. But somebody does need to kind of help coordinate with this individual as you guys make your way down to the city of Salmix. Let me put a marker on the map. Since you've got a guide with you now, he knows where it's at. A little village icon on Salmix. Okay, you guys should see it on the map right there.
Yeah.
Spelled it wrong again. God damn it.
That's my new objective, is just to make you spell everything wrong for all time.
It's not hard.
So he says there's a path that basically will take you down to Salmix that just follows right along there.
Then what do we need you for?
It gets hard to find in some places. You know, there's lots of sand that moves. It's coarse. It gets everywhere. It makes the roads obscure too.
Do we all take 1d4 psychic damage from that?
Oh, you're just about to. Just about
Restrain
to.
myself from stabbing the boy.
Yeah.
If you would like to set off in the morning, we can. Otherwise, there's some supplies we could get now. We could get a couple hours travel in before the day is through.
I suppose.
Let's get started now.
Yes, if time is of the essence, we might as well head out now.
Well, good. We'll
camp
need a
on
few
them.
of these. And he grabs a few, has some supplies set up nearby that were provided to you by some of the lizard folk. These you'll find incredibly helpful, especially underneath the cold desert night. As you all feel the chill kind of coming in a little bit, the temperature dropping rapidly. He hands each of you a tent that you've seen these before, Maximil, because they're used for fun in some places. They can be turned over and used very poorly, like sand sleds. But what's really cool with these things is you can unhook one side of them, and it flips out this larger ring that creates a small dome with some stakes on the end, and you can dig them into the sand to make a little domed tent to keep critters from getting into you and kind of keep the warmth inside. But the mesh covering breathes a little bit, so you're not just like breathing your own air. But it basically protects you a little bit from the elements overnight while you're sleeping.
Cool.
All right. Well, you're ready for a travel through some unknown terrain in this deep desert area landscape.
And it's like nighttime now, right?
It is nighttime now.
Okay.
It's late. You said you guys get a couple hours of travel and be able to stop off the side of the road. But who's going to guide along with Yasuks?
I'll
That's
do
a
it.
survival one, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I'll do that one.
Okay, Doran. And we need ourselves some... Get my other jobs up here. Scrolling back. We need a scout or two.
Tarak can scout.
Spackle can scout.
So this is a character is going to assign themselves to this job because there's some checks that you want to do, not just have your you can do it through Spackle if you want to, and then basically aid Tarak. So only one person can make the roll, but if you want to go with them, then we can do Batran to help Tarak scouting. And then hunters and foragers. Maximil, you usually do that. You gonna do that again?
Sure. Let's see what the desert can get us.
Hometown advantage.
Yeah, Maximil,
Advantage?
I'll give you a +2 for foraging in the desert since you grew up here. And sentinels. We got Diggin and Soren left without jobs.
Sentinel. Bow out.
Soren, do you want to help anybody else out?
I mean, I'm still at a point of exhaustion. Am I able to help?
You can, if you roll above we'll say you can grant aid on the skill check if you do 2d20, like you do a roll on it, and you get a 12, or you could beat a DC 12. Then you'll grant aid. Otherwise, you're just too exhausted to help.
Okay, got it. So I roll 2d20, and if I get above 12,
you're gonna have disadvantage. You're gonna basically do a skill check to see if you can actually help out, or if you're gonna be too exhausted to help. But just remember, you're on all short rests as you go this direction.
Right. Oh, you can't lose that.
But if I remember correctly, there is a way for you guys to take a long rest.
There is.
There is.
Yeah, perfect opportunity to bring in our mimic friend.
I'm wondering if we should save that for what is to come, though, because we might not have somewhere safe to live to sleep.
Oh yeah, it's on a huge cooldown.
Oh, it is 3 days.
Yeah, it is
3 day.
Oh, it's a 3 day.
Yeah, we'll do it tonight.
But the
Yeah.
place that may have been attacked may have been closer than 3 days.
It is. It's definitely closer.
Yes.
It's within a few hours, and so if there's a thing there, so I think we should wait on using it until after we make it to the place of the attack.
Well, they did say the attack occurred within 12 hours, is what they put at.
Yeah, we're not gonna push out that far because then Soren would get another exhaustion point.
Yeah.
Like 7 more points of exhaustion.
So we shouldn't do that tonight, but we should do it tomorrow night.
That's fine. Okay, so rolling disadvantage. I'm gonna, I guess, help with scouting because it's a stealth one, right?
So there's already somebody aiding on scouting.
Okay, then I will help with
hunting and sentry. Okay, that's perception.
Fergus? Yeah, I'm not a hunter.
Shit. I took a perception one.
It's perception. All right, this is gonna be bad. Disadvantage. Yeah, no, I got a 15 and a 6.
Womp womp. Okay.
Total of 8. So
Soren keeps trying to assist you, but how does Soren fail at the sentinel as you're walking along there?
So walking along, trudging through the desert, trying to like keep like, you know, eyes sharp, like watching corners and stuff like that. It's just and just trudging.
Okay. I need our guide, Doran. Go ahead and make a D12 departure roll for me. It's D12 plus your survival at advantage.
Ooh. Well, first one is a 9. Second one is much better with a 13.
Okay. So, even though you're leaving at night, you guys have been through some pretty crazy stuff, especially returning to dragons. However, you're kind of riding the high from the Spirit Siege Ball game, all the fun activities you guys have done, the rest and relaxation. You feel prepared to venture out into the world. Botrin specifically, you find that a little bit of extra resolution and resolve, you don't feel as attacked as you had before you went into hiding. And you feel a lot more confident now, especially with your friends kind of digging, particularly having experienced something interesting with you. But you feel confident. You feel good. So you guys are going to get +2 on all your travel event tests as you guys head through. And the first night is very quiet. 2 hours pass by. You get pretty far down the hill. It gets steep from the cliffs of Abesa, down starting to come down into this lower section leading up to the water. But you get a couple hours in that first night, don't spot anything. And Yasuks kind of looks back and goes, "This is usually the last stop on the way from Salmix up to the cliffs. We usually camp out here. It's well covered, and he shows you this little kind of rock alcove off to one side of the mountainside. It's kind of this path cutting through the hills. Kind of butts up against the hillside and has a nice overhang, so nothing can approach you from the top, and puts the exit out in front. This is a good spot. The fire ring is right there if you want to get a fire going, but there's nice soft vegetation, and you can see a lot of mats that are they're old, years old, that people have continued to weave additional vegetation and reeds into to keep the sleeping areas on this internal, like, kind of cliff space. It seems to be a shared stopping point along the road that a lot of people use.
Okay.
It's pretty secure, so you guys can post up in there and take a first short rest. Okay. So go ahead, and if you guys would like to, you can take a short rest now, and you prepare
Short rest.
for the next day. Yep. It technically is a full 8 hours, but you only get the benefits of a short rest.
Oh, I get my thingies back, right? Oh. Sorry.
Need the right dice.
Let's roll for the right character.
So you all, on the second day, you get a much better vision coming down from the mountainside. You can see them in the distance, but as you approach closer throughout the day, day one goes by pretty nondescript. The sentinels search and look, and as do the scouts, kind of keeping an eye out for where this person may have been attacked. But the desert being what it is, sand kind of moving and going with the wind as it kind of lightly breezes through this area. Any blood spatter on the main portion of the road could have already been covered up with sand and just brushed away, and you could have walked over where this person was attacked and not seen it at all. So as you come down the main section of the road, you don't find any evidence within those first 10 hours of travel of a larger convoy being attacked.
We don't see any like birds circling. We don't see any wildlife
Nothing.
activity or anything like that.
There's normal wildlife activity, but you don't see like vultures circling. There's not any evidence along the road of somebody being attacked. You don't especially see anything like blood on the ground where this person got hit on the road. Josh, that just started. I saw you like put your hand up like, why isn't the music going? It actually just started playing when you hit stop. There you go. It's good.
Yeah.
If you're having a hard time hearing it, let me know. I turned my playlist volume down because one of the songs was really loud.
Yeah, you have full control over like the actual currently playing. So if you ever need to, just
You got
kick
it.
it down some, so you don't have to mess with your playlist. Some.
You got it.
I don't hear any music.
It's dim. It kind of builds.
Now I hear music.
Yeah.
Nothing was playing for a little while.
So after searching for that first day as you travel on the road, not letting you stop too much, but spending a little bit of time on the path looking for where you expected the combat to happen, because it could have happened anywhere within a 12-hour window leading up to the cliffs of Abesa. There's not evidence anywhere along the road that suggests that a larger group was attacked or there's more individuals dead out here, and you continue to make your way down the path.
Recent tracks, at least. Are we following the right path? Nothing.
You're following the path, which is kind of this caked, hard, rocky path, but there's sand shifting all along the path and along the sides of it. It kind of cuts through some very sparse, like sagebrush and really wiry, thin desert plants. So you can see where people normally travel, but it's not like it's a pilgrimage route. There's not wagon tracks. There's not other people traveling it right now. Seems to be kind of meandering naturally with the desert. There's not a lot of evidence of anybody being out here, really. However, on the second day, as you come much closer to the coast, you guys are greeted with really a great first look at the cliffs of these massive islands out within the Silvered Expanse. Getting closer to the shore, too, you can see further out into the ocean. Very light, clear sand stretches along the beach. And you can see it as if you, for anybody that's walked in the Gulf of Mexico, the shore very gradually dips in to the Gulf area. And it's no more than 2 feet deep at some of its deepest points from what you can see. You know, some 100, 200 feet away running along the shore next to you. But the waves are very active. And the water keeps continually coming in. Yasux explains it's a strangeness of the region. The current strikes here and pushes back further and further, and this is why the Silvered Expanse is what it is. And you can look at and see almost an endless silver blanket of very shallow water and very bright sand underneath it. This whole area is... You cannot navigate it by regular ships. We have long pontooned boats that can skim along the surface, but regular sailing ships, they don't come in here. The sand is too quick. Vegetation roots in some places, but the sand is always moving and always churning beneath the surface. There's been legends
So it's
of
not walkable
ships.
on foot either.
No, there's been legends of ships swallowed whole. But we find some rocky structures in some places that we know where there's clams and things that are edible, and the fish congregate around some of the channels farther out, but the majority of it is vastly...
Is that me? Sorry.
The majority of it's vastly impassable by ship.
Is it salt water?
Yes, I mean, it's connected to the Great Ocean.
Right.
And I would like to, I'm going to put them in our lore and information chat, unless I did already last week. Let me double check. Scrolling up a little bit. I did. There's a couple of pictures of a forest in China that's inspired these. A lot of these islands, they don't float. So when I say this, don't think of them as floating, but these large, massive rocky spires with huge vines coming off the side of them, hundreds of feet tall. The cliff sides have been shorn out completely by the water just eroding the foundations of these things, and huge chunks of them coming down to make these massive spires of rock. They look very similar from Avatar, the floating islands on Pandora, but these have this large jungle structure with these big vines, but they run all the way into the ocean, and they cement themselves deep underground there. And Yasux explains most of these, they lose bits of rock every year now, but they run deep, and the northern sides take the most damage from what I understand, but I've not traveled to them. The Akuros come very, very rarely to our cities.
Do you know where they come from?
That one, primarily. And he points to the northeast, the rather large one that you can see in the distance. You can see out across the horizon a little bit, but it's capping up some probably thousands of feet in the air. And the understanding is it used to be a massive mountain range that connected all the way to the desert. Legend tells of this: when the world was born, these mountains battled the sea here. And these are the last fingers of some great mountainous titan falling beneath the waves and being swallowed by the sands beneath the Silvered Expanse. Getting to see that, I need everybody to make either a wisdom check or an investigation check of your choice. You can either take wisdom check or an investigation.
So investigation.
Investigate.
Oh, still at disadvantage.
9.
Natural 20 for a 21.
We're so good.
What is with the fours?
Wait, there's something in my eye.
I got a 9 plus. Oh wait, do we? Oh, nice. Do we have the +2 for this check too?
No, this is for the travel check. This is like what
Okay.
determines which events you guys run into.
So yeah, 13.
Okay,
for
so
investigation.
Natural 20 for Tarak.
that's 20 for Turok, 13
Nice.
for Soren. Diggin, what'd you get?
9.
Doran,
Doran got an 8.
Batrin.
I got a 6.
Wow, and Maximil.
Natural 20 for a 21.
Nice.
Those of you that got
21.
13 or above,
Just barely.
you see the beauty of this strange foreign place, this great wonder in front of you, and you feel invigorated. You recover a level of exhaustion. However, those of you that did not roll a 13 or above, you see these imposing statues of rock and these massive pillars of earth, and the knowledge that somewhere up there is a probably very irritated gold dragon, knowing what you just witnessed, that it is daunting and weighs heavily on your soul, and you gain a level of exhaustion.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Where do I mark that?
So on the upper left of your character sheet, you should see your face. There's a little smiley face there. You
Gotcha.
click it, you'll see it 1 through 6, and you can click number 1 to give yourself a level of exhaustion.
It definitely
Watch
shouldn't
it.
be a smiley face.
Yeah, you watch it get
Yeah.
sadder as you get worse.
Yep. But you all continue making your way down to Salmix. In the evening of the 3rd day, you arrive at this coastal village, loosely organized, with huts made of reeds, some clays, various natural materials. It looks very, very earthy and built into the environment. There's not a lot of cut roadways. Everything kind of flows naturally with the shoreline here, and where the hills of sand and earth are. And you see in the distance many fires lit in homes, and you see plenty of other empty homes with fires unlit. And it's fairly early in the evening here. You can still see people milling about, but the place looks kind of partially deserted right now. And that's where we're going to take a quick break for our midpoint of the game, as you guys are approaching the town.
Okay.
Okay. So we also have super awesome stuff in our new thing, so for our Be Right Back screen too. But we'll be back in just a few minutes, everybody, to wrap up our 22nd session. So we'll be right back. welcome back, everybody. So, before the break, we were just arriving at the city of Salmix, a lizard folk city on the coast of the Silvered Expanse, an area of our southern continent, Lamindor. I say all these words like everybody's going to remember them flawlessly. An area that is impassable by ships, is very shallow, that has lots of, no problem, that has lots of very quickly moving sand, not really quicksand, but, you know, the sand is thick underneath the water here, and it does not settle well, so things just kind of sink into it. Things don't sail here. And peppered amongst this landscape of silvery, shallow ocean water are massive towers of stone pillars covered in jungle. The great spires of a people that you have recently come to know as the Akuros, some secretive, shamanistic, hidden group, apparently of some type of creature that have wings that live among these high cliffs. But you're arriving at the village of Salmix, which the lizard folks said was one of their most holy cities, a kind of a place where they train all of their shaman, and that houses the group of individuals that manage the relationship between the Akuros and the lizard folk here. You are all on the outskirts of the city, and from the outside looking in the early evening hours in which you arrive, city seems about half populated. You can see people moving. It's clearly a little while after dinner. Not all the lights should be out at this point, but more than half the lights in this small village are out. What would you guys like to do?
Do any of them look surprised to see us?
Little off-put. That, like, weird people are showing up in town. But not so much that they're gonna stop talking to you. They do see the guide with you, Yasuks, hanging out. He kind of dissuades them from getting too concerned as you all move your way into town.
Okay.
Yusux, is it always this quiet here?
No, this is quite a busy place usually. I mean, unless the issue is with the Akuros and for some reason they went there, but I mean, we should, if our timing is correct, this is when the Akuros would be coming, tomorrow morning. They'd be here to, bring people, or bring the offering back to their islands. They have these fantastic ships, like these balloons filled with hot air that kind of travel up and down for when they have to move large quantities of things. They specifically have one that is for the offering, so we expect to see it in the morning. But whoever was to be managing it on this side should have been here, waiting.
Who's usually in charge of the receival of the gift?
Well, the high shaman would have traveled with the individual that was hurt, so he must have been sent as a runner. I mean, there is a village elder near the center of town. We could go speak with them.
I think that is a good idea.
Well, you tell me and I'll lead the way. So let's go.
Please do.
Earn that gold, dude. Earn that gold.
I'm doing it. You're here safely. I got my gold. I won't abandon you yet, though. Takes you towards the center of the town, nearish to the coast side. There's a one larger building that appears to be a longer hut that has a lot of flowers, like desert flowers and dry food offerings outside of it. That at first glance appears like a religious area of some sort. And he walks to a small house right near it that has a light on inside and knocks on the door and kind of shouts out inside. Velis, are you still the elder here? Hello? I have some people who had questions, travelers? A few moments later, the door kind of creaks open and out walks a lizard folk woman draped in old linens and skins interwoven with flowers and different things that just naturally occurring from the desert. There's small animal bones hanging off her, and she's kind of got the veil that was the other one you found on the ground is kind of hanging off to the side of her face. And she comes out walking on a stick and looks at the group of you. One of her eyes is clouded over. It's a little hard for her to see through, so she kind of peers at you all side-eyed to get the look. She pans around to the whole group.
Well, you really brought me some interesting travelers today. This is quite the lot.
Have you
First,
had
we're arriving with better news.
Have you had other travelers today?
No,
Okay. Okay, I'm
it's-
sorry, I misunderstood.
this is just the uniqueness of this group. Is
Just that we're interesting.
yes.
And you have and she goes up to Diggin and ding ding, like hits him with her cane.
He's that it. What do you call this one?
Diggin kind of like reacts to it way later than normal. Ow.
Oh, it speaks. Oh, Sinoposa
Yes.
blesses us today. Are you the offering? Are we to shine
No.
him?
No.
Are we giving him?
No.
Absolutely not. No.
Okay. Oh, I mean, if you say so.
Well,
The offering is
speaking-
gone.
Yes.
They're
Come
here
again.
I'm
because there
afraid
was an
we
attack.
must bear some bad tidings for you.
Yes.
There's no offering.
No.
The offering to Rosita was never delivered. And
Oh,
the caravan never came.
yes, yes.
Well-
Somebody mentioned that.
And you hear a younger voice from back in the back part of the room.
Velis, do you need some assistance?
And Velis kind of goes,
Yeah, maybe. Weren't we missing something? Isn't that what we sent Taito for?
and then a younger lizard folk woman,
Velis, please, Elder, come and sit down.
she takes her inside and steps back out.
I apologize. I'm Sharia.
I am the next in line to bear the title of elder. And Velis is quite old. I apologize. I was back in the back working on something, and you caught me by surprise. And yeah, did you receive Taito's message? Did he arrive safely to you?
No.
Wait, he is dead. He was attacked along the
Oh.
way.
Something clawed at him, and there was some sort of necrotic poison that took him.
Oh my!
Took him hours, but he made it just to the table before perishing.
Diggin hands out a stick.
Oh, well, it is our way that if a walking staff is left in the desert, it's destined for a new traveler. That is yours, my friend. Hold on to that.
Diggin just turns and chucks it.
No.
I need a place to rest.
I suppose
Please.
it's for someone else
Okay.
now.
I go chasing after it and pick it
No,
up. and I
don't-
say,
Don't worry. She kind of holds up her hand. She actually rolled a natural 20 on her history check. I know Yurig are a little they can be a bit literal and they don't understand things quite well. It's quite all
I
right.
have no idea.
Rude.
You don't know the half of it, sister.
Well, one would say that throwing a gift that a dying man left for you on the side of the road to the dirt is rude, but maybe you're just leaving it for your own traveler in your own way.
It is not my gift to take or give. Confused. Do you have a seat?
Yes, let's go into the
Thank you.
let's go into the great hall, and she like guides you all to the larger hall, and she kind
Have
of
a
looks
great
back.
hall.
That's the longer building that's kind of right next to this house, where all like the offerings and the effigies were outside. It looks like a religious area. Velis, I'll be back. Just drink your tea, and I'll be right back.
As we're walking over, I kind of want to just like ask her, like, so what were you working on?
Frankly, do you really want to know?
Yes, I'm curious. I don't know anything about your people. I'm traveling to learn.
Velis is very old. She can't contain herself quite as well before she makes it to relieve herself, and I had to. I take care of the laundry. It's I'm in training, but I do in service the laundry. It's not the most glorious part of the job, but Velis is an honored member of our society, a truly wise elder, and she should be dignified in her elder years, not be meant to feel ashamed of what she can't control in her own body. So,
right, it's kind of you.
Excuse me, and Diggin just like pushes past and finds a seat. Never felt this before. And just sits down and like lays down.
So there's a lot of naturally woven mats kind of in a semicircle around a small effigy fire in the middle, and it's for offerings. Just please take any seat there.
Yes, you talk. Dig in, rest.
So what was this message he was to be delivering?
All the elders except for Velis were called to a summit with the Akuros. They were asked to go with them, and something to discuss. I was not privy to the information, but they haven't returned. So we sent Taito to ensure that the offering was there, and that we knew we'd be coming late, and hopefully there'd be some answers from your side as to what was going on.
We are perplexed by this.
Do you know who may have attacked him along the way?
I haven't the faintest idea.
What may have attacked him?
Two claw marks. Well, three actually.
Three.
Three claw marks.
Were they in line with one another?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
The Akuros have 3 claws, but they go like this. And she kind of like bends one, like she takes one and kind of goes, and has to like really wrench a claw because she doesn't have great opposable thumb, but gets it around.
Her claws are like this then?
She has 5 fingers.
Okay.
So she holds up 3, and they're like, and kind of like the Akuros have almost like eagle talons.
What are they like? I'm curious.
Wise, reserved, quiet.
That's good to know. I meant more literal characteristics. Are they reptilian like yourself, or something that sort of?
Yes, they believe in. Yeah.
Can I subtly cast detect thoughts on her to see if she is using any kind of deception?
Sure. So detect thoughts, you can detect surface level thoughts without prying deeper, but if you do want to pry deeper, you're going to risk her knowing that you're prying.
Right. I trying to do it without her noticing or whatever. So
surface level thoughts you can pick up very easily. She's excited that there's outsiders here. They don't get many here. She's nervous because now there's a lot more questions that are unanswered. She wears a lot of her heart just kind of out there on her sleeve. So she's worried for the village. She's worried for the rituals that must take place. She has duties. And then there's a lot of concern for Velis there too. That Velis has had this great weight. She was the oldest of the elders, and now she's concerned that the rest of the elders are gone too, and Velis isn't capable of leading their people in her current state.
So there's no indication of
on the surface, absolutely no indication of deception.
Trickery. Gotcha.
If you do want to pry, let me know and I can have her roll a check for you. Side note, let me be certain here. Do you have anything for detect thoughts if that requires any sort of, that does require visuals, semantic, and material components? If you want to cast that without her realizing it, I need you to make a stealth check.
All right.
Because you do have to do visual and somatic components, so you're going to be moving your hands and muttering. You're going to try to do it quietly. she does have a lot of distractions, so it is a contested roll.
I love that it's a copper piece because it's a penny for your thoughts.
20.
Yep.
Is it 18
It
plus
is.
2 is 20. I don't know if there's a minus.
So you are exhausted, so you have disadvantage on that check. I need you to hold your mouse over the 20 and roll it with a minus.
Oh,
Ouch.
So
Oh no.
she sees you casting it. Barely. She clocks the end of it. She actually only rolled a 4, so she rolled terribly as well.
oh.
One off the 3.
Could have gotten away with it with a 3.
Yeah. So she kind of clocks you doing it. And she seems, just first glance of her, you can tell this woman's got some power in her as well. But she doesn't do anything about it. She kind of sees she sees you casting, she kind of leans back a little bit and prepares, but doesn't feel anything, so she assumes, that it's not to harm her, so she doesn't act strangely out of it. But she does clock that you're casting something. Yes, the hope would have been that Taito had been able to stay with you for a moment, let you know that things were coming in due time, and frankly, I was hoping the elders would have been back before Taito had to leave, but that's why we sent him. They weren't here. The time was coming. He had to go, and we sent him early to scout for us.
So the caravan didn't go with him. It was just him.
Correct. The operatives for the caravan all went with the Akuros.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Characteristics of them. She said they have 3 claws, but like
eagle claws.
equal
Talons.
claws.
They considers themselves descendants of dragons to some degree, but wyverns more or less. They stand very tall. They're about 7 feet tall. They have scales and but they're very lithe and thin individuals. And their forearms, they have 2 arms that reach almost to their ankles, and attached to them are these large membraned wings. But then they have their little claws for manipulating things, and they're adept spellcasters, but very good hunters, very stealthy. But they're devout in their beliefs that they serve Simiposi. They work hard to ensure that Simiposi is pleased, and that the thing that they call the balance is maintained. Some balance that they watch from atop their perches are maintained, but
Balance of what?
I don't know. It's something to do with their religion. It's beyond me. I've never studied Akuros religion. I apologize, but they're an interesting group for sure. It's quite something to see them glide between.
One last
thoughts.
question.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You said their hands are like this, like eagle's talons. What are their feet like?
They have large, almost kind of like him. And she points to Doran's feet, where he's got the. He might have. Do you have boots on, Doran?
I've got boots on right
So
now. Yeah.
there is a bit of a dew claw for Dragonborns that kind of sits out the back of the heel.
Okay.
That resembles like that additional grasping talon that would be on a dragon. A Dragonborn kind of inherited a little bit, and she's like that. They have, they have 4 toes in front, and they have one kind of larger claw on the back that helps them to grasp onto the large, thick vines that run between the island spires. And
You said they're adept hunters.
oh yes, I mean,
How do
there's
they hunt?
as if you had seen a falcon dive for something before, much like that.
Diggin kind of rudely gets up, takes the tapestry. Yes, feet and hands. So nice to talk about. Please, my head. And he walks outside with the blanket or the rug and just leaves. He goes lay down outside.
I don't think Dickens ever had a point of exhaustion before.
We have a mystery on our hands of claw marks, and we're trying to figure out what claws did it.
Oh,
If they fly, they're not going to use their hands to attack someone when they're hunting, are they? No.
Oh no, they dive quickly. I've seen them scoop small sharks and rays out of the ocean. They come in at a very steep angle and they kick their feet out and sink claws into them, or they'll hunt with bow and spear in the air. And they'll catch gulls and other creatures.
Can you think of any reason why the Akuros would want to attack him? Is there anything that they could gain from this?
No, our people fear Simiposi. We all live in fear of Simiposi. There's no reason we'd want to anger the Great One.
So then who was it?
Indeed.
What,
Haven't slightest.
are there any sort of predators, any known bandit gangs or pirates that have leaders or people in the gang that have the 3
No,
claw marks?
not around here. No. Salmix is uniquely positioned safely away from many of the dangers of the outside world. The desert is hard to travel by. People don't want to pass the mountains from Ashahoya to come this far. That's why it's a pilgrimage for our people. It wasn't an easy road for you, I'm sure. There's no vegetation, no place to really escape the sun.
What of anybody who would gain something from making it appear as if the Akuros had attacked them?
What would you gain? The Akuros
We are not
have not
familiar with the
the
subtle politics of your region. That is
There-
why we're asking
there are
all
no-
kinds of questions.
There are no politics here. The Akuros follow Simiposi and believe that Simiposi protects this area, and that we must appease the great dragon to keep us all safe. And we,
Yes, they pay taxes to their giant dragon god. That is politics, my dear.
well, we live off the land, and we work and serve the Akuros. We help them with things that they can't get readily. They're not good farmers by any means. And we help
the rest
them.
of the caravan they went to the Akuros. Is that correct?
Yes,
the
there
rest
was
of
some great trouble at one of the temples that required the elders' insight, is what they were told, and they went. I mean, this was
Do you know?
2 weeks ago at this point.
I think after some rest, that's where our next goal should be.
Which temple was this? Do you know?
They didn't say. The Akuros were sent, and they really have one ship that travels between the Great Isle Spire and here. No, I apologize. There are 2, but they're so similar. But they only send one at a time. Usually it's once a year to trade with us and to meet and discuss the goings-ons of our region, which is really the tide and ensuring that fishing is still being kept up well and that we're helping nature, and we do. We're all children of nature here.
What if Simiposi ordered them to make this transaction fail for some reason? Maybe Simiposi was tired of. I don't understand the way a dragon would do that. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud.
Simiposi awoke because we were fighting and because we were disagreeing near their territory, and why would Simiposi want us to fight again? It doesn't make sense to me.
Purely hypothetical, but I don't suppose there's any possibility of this Simiposi being killed by some sort of other dragon that might take over its roost. You would know of something like this happening, right?
Yes, we would know. I in my lifetime and the lifetimes recorded before me, there's no record of Simiposi emerging from their great horde.
And nothing else going inside.
No, the clouds rarely show here. I mean, occasionally the spires are covered in clouds. The Isle spires are very tall, and they pierce the clouds themselves. Sometimes the fog rolls in deep and you can't see the tops, but it'd be very strange for something to wait until the clouds rolled to attack. Especially when those hunters they live there their entire lives. They know how to deal with the fogs. They know that territory better than anyone.
Right. So it wasn't on the inside, so then it had to be something on the outside. It has to be an outside force that's trying to wake up a dragon. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems like it's the only logical option at this point.
Yes, something that's trying to upset this little exchange of goods, sow some sort of discord, and possibly foment war. Don't know who, don't know why.
Well, you are all more than welcome to rest here tonight. The Akuros' ship will be arriving tomorrow.
Are we sure that it will be?
The hope is that they are, but everything's been unexpected so far. But if they arrive, they would be the ones to ask questions of.
Do you have a way of reaching them if their ship does not arrive?
Not unless you can climb thousands of feet very, very well.
I may have something that could help.
What?
Possibly, but it would take a very long time. If I was able to levitate us, or spider climb us, I could do it to a couple different people, and then I'd have to make several trips.
Well, let's be very clear. First, you would have to swim a very long way, and then you would have to climb a very long way.
Well, I can let us. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I've done it before, where I can like stay on top of the water.
I'm not fond of triathlons.
Yeah.
This, and of course, this is in case of extreme, like in the case of something bad, and we needed to get up there.
Yes.
I have a couple of things that I could do, but it would take a really long time.
Well, for now, I think sleep, and in the morning we await the arrival of the envoy of Kuros, and hopefully we come to some kind of diplomatic solution.
Hopefully.
Oh, please.
And if not, I take my new blade and I cut their heads off. It's fine.
The simple solution. We're joking.
Okay.
I'm not.
Well, I am. I don't know. Okay. I'm joking.
Do they have accommodations where we can sleep?
You could all stay here tonight in the temple. We don't necessarily have inns or taverns, as it were. Do you need food? I can have food brought for you.
That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. We'll have food brought in for you and something to drink. Water is really all we have. I don't know how well you would stomach the alcohol we do have if you really want it, though.
Water's fine for me, thank you.
Yes, water is good enough, thank you.
Okay. And she'll kind of get you some more arrangements. She goes to a couple cupboards where there's some more like pads for worship, and she kind of helps you arrange them all in beds for you to kind of crash on the floor in here. A little while later, after you're all kind of getting settled in, a few of the villagers come in and bring you some bowls of food that are communally served. So you're just handed a large bowl of steaming food. Just quick show of hands, who doesn't have dark vision, as the lights in here are pretty dim and it's hard to see. So those of you that are, the food smells great. It's spiced wonderfully. And the road's been long with rations and old water, so you have fresh water and very well spiced and rich food. Unless somebody brings up the lights to eat. those of you with dark vision spot that mostly what you're looking at here is large insects and scorpions. There seems to be some root vegetable mixed in with it that's seasoned pretty heavily. But this is a bowl, like a couple bowls of steaming insect kind of roast that's been done.
I pass.
Diggin will randomly come in with like the carpet wrapped around his head, like super angry teen, very angsty and angry. Please do not use lights. It is too bright outside. For the love of whoever's God.
So without dark
Can't wait, you'll
vision,
do sleep.
it's dim enough in here that you can't really see the bowl. But as soon as you kind of get a hand in it, you feel like little bits of crispy meat. If you're not sure what's happening in there, and Diggin's asking for nobody to turn on lights. So.
Are we sleeping? Has that been decided?
We're sleeping after some of us eat, Diggin, yes.
Thank goodness. And he just shuts off and falls face down.
Oh. Good night.
I thought
Maybe
he
something
didn't
would
even
break him
get
eventually.
tired. This is the strangest thing. I've never seen a robot man get tired.
Well,
Spackle may eat from the bowl, but Batran just rolls over and goes to sleep.
Doran doesn't know any better. He can't see what he's eating, and probably he's eaten far worse in his day, so he just doesn't. He's
Yeah.
Eating bugs reminds me of childhood, so I'm gonna have rations.
It's crunchy
Aw.
yet satisfying, as they've all been roasted.
No. It's disgusting.
Maximil, you've had this kind of stuff before. The lizard folk do make it as like a treat. They put it on skewers, and you've eaten it on Endear, and it's actually pretty good. And it's pretty satisfying. Everybody thought it would be funny when you were young to dare each other to eat the roast scorpions, and after you've had it, it's kind of a treat you look forward to. And now you've got a big bowl of the fresh stuff. That's always good too. Tarak, similar sustenance, root vegetables, very few things grow in the arid expanse, so this is kind of in your same palate, and it's spiced up in the same way, nice and hot and tangy and sour.
Tarak is chowing it down, and in between the bites, he says, well, at least our worst fears have not come to pass. The village still stands, but I'm afraid we're no closer to a solution than we were when we set off.
We will figure this out. And he watches Doran slurps up what he thinks is like a noodle, and it's just a scorpion tail going.
Yeah.
We can figure it out tomorrow once we have more information. If the Akuros comes to us, we can go up to them and help solve their problem. And if they don't, then we have a new problem on our hands, which is how to get up there.
But what of the elders?
That's what we're gonna find out.
Yes, the hope, I suppose, is that they're still alive and
Just in the temple of the
It will be one of
Akuros.
many questions we have for the Akuros tomorrow.
it's better to be reactive in the moment, I suppose.
Well, we should turn in, get a night's rest. We're all very tired.
Perhaps it may be wise to keep guard.
I don't think so. I think we're pretty safe here. If they wanted to harm us, they would have fed us poison or something.
They might have.
Well,
See,
what if the danger is not from them? What if it's something we don't know about yet?
Well, just sleep with your staff.
I suppose I can have Astrid keep watch for us for a while. No. Conjure the owl kitty. Gonna give her some head scratches and right. Keep a lookout. And I suppose scream very loudly if something is coming to harm us. I don't know. Use your best judgment. You're smart.
Are we in an open space, or is there a door that we can?
There is a single door, and there's other people in the city kind of moving about. So you feel pretty secure here. It's secure enough for you guys to take a long rest.
Okay.
Nice. Long rest.
All right, and everybody does get a long rest, so those of you that have exhaustion can rest that away.
Woohoo! Thank goodness. Yes, that was the first time Diggin has ever had a point of exhaustion.
Let's see, blur or enhanceability. I'm gonna take that off.
So it's actually the, let's see here.
Go both.
So on the morning of the 9th of Venetis, let me make sure to add a note on the 8th here. You guys arrived at Salmix. Sorry, we have an in-game calendar. I like to make sure I keep some things up to date so you guys can see. You arrived in Salmix on the morning of the 9th.
Okay, cool.
You guys awake the next morning. Pretty warm in the morning, but there is some rain coming in. It seems the weather is a little bit more wild here, directly on the coast. But a heavy rain starts to come in, and you can see, it's almost as if you could see the clouds themselves opening up just a few hundred meters above you as they've been breaking off of the Isles spires far to the northwest. Early in the morning, Sharia comes back in to see the group of you, and I suppose I should put in spellings so that way you guys can tell me how much you missed it by. But Sharia comes back in and greets you all. I suppose all of our prayers are answered because the Akuros will be landing here momentarily.
Thank goodness.
Good.
Diggin kind of scratches his head. Sorry about my rudeness.
Well, better.
Yes. Strangely, have you ever wanted to claw behind your eyeballs and rip them out?
Often,
Yeah.
yes.
Why?
It's part of being alive.
There was this neighbor that I had that was fucking asshole. Anyway, doesn't matter. He's in Busat, I'm here.
I do not want to experience that ever again.
So you get a chance to get yourselves put together. Sharia tells you that in an hour or so they'll be landing, but you can watch them come in. It's quite a sight to see. Spend a little bit of time getting ready. Those of you that didn't have dark vision before, you get up and glance over to the bowl of food from the night before and see the scorpions and bug parts that you had. Those of you that consumed it, it was satisfying. You feel great this morning.
Oh, I'm sure Spackle enjoyed his. But...
Slimy yet satisfying.
I scoop up another waffle and just say, breakfast.
Leftovers.
I am glad I don't eat.
I walk outside away from this.
And when you get out, you get a glance over and you see all the lizard folk that are in the village have kind of congregated, even in the rain. They've got ponchos on and they're holding up the front flap of them so they can see very well. And they're watching this massive kind of sky barge coming in. You can see ropes hanging off of a large platform, almost like a river raft, a very wide, kind of flat barge that's connected with ropes to a huge balloon. It's a long tube-shaped balloon. It's kind of slowly descending, and you can't quite see it from here, but you can see the light of a raging fire in the center of this platform. And after a few moments, you get your first glimpse of an Akuros. A very tanned, dark-skinned, hard to tell the texture from this distance, but you can see long arms as they walk, slightly hunched, balancing just a little bit on the forearms towards the edge of the platform. And they look down with these large snouted noses. Tarak in particular, you can see very clearly with the eyes of the eagle the wyvern features of these long snouts and the flaring nostrils. The brow ridge is akin almost to a dragonborn, but with a little bit less scale features. You can see bits of scale around the nose, but leathery, rough skin that's been treated heavily by the sun over the years. And from them, long braids coming down from the hair. Many of them are decorated with beads and different things woven into them, and they kind of hang loosely off of their hair, or off of their scalp, coming down in these very, very long braids as they stand just about 6 feet, even slightly hunched at the side. And as they kind of look over the edge towards your direction, you almost feel like they're locking eyes with you, and you can see that they've got just hunter's vision from a very far distance. One of them does clock you directly, Tarak, and makes eye contact and winks right at you as you're looking at him. And he spreads these massive wings, about 14, 15 feet total of a wingspan, as he flexes and jumps off the side of this huge barge and begins to glide effortlessly alongside it and kind of rides the currents up and catches back up near the top of the balloon. And about 5 or 6 of them take off in this fashion. These very long wingspanned, tall, thin creatures. They begin to drift down with the barge for about 30 minutes.
Tarak watches them. He looks at the claws, and do they look, from having seen the marks on the dead shaman, does it look like they are about the same width apart, or is it obvious that it would have been made by something different?
You can see at their feet the most odd shaped part of them, these huge clawed feet. The 3 talons in the front that are far too wide apart to be able to slash across somebody's face in that manner. Large feet intended to grip strong onto vines, with a separate claw out the backside, that if they had slashed at somebody with them, it would have been very awkward. As they dive around, you see one kind of come close and spot a fish down in the water and swoop down and reach out with both claws, and he dives at it like a falcon at the last minute, breaking his legs forward to grasp it with both sets of talons, and scoop right back up out of the water and flaps up to a small rock and kind of eats it almost as if like a bird does, with this long dragon-looking snout, chews into this fish. But both the very tiny claws for manipulating at the ends of the wings and the very massive talons for capturing prey at their feet, neither of them match the profile of what attacks the lizard folk.
Okay. Tarak leans sort of to the group. I don't know if you've spotted it, but it does not look like they were the ones who attacked him. Their claws look too different.
Shit. Well, I mean, that's good, but also shit. Means we have nothing.
Well, it means that they may know something, and that they're not our enemies.
That's true.
And in this day
Or
and
at least
age,
not for that reason.
with what's going on, they're not enemies.
Can we see aboard the barge? Do we notice any lizard folk on the barge?
Not immediately. It's too high above you to see.
Okay.
In the last 10 minutes of their descent, as they're coming in, those last few degrees just very slowly gliding in, you can get a vision of the top part of the deck. It's akin to a river barge in like the Mississippi being guided with a pole, very wide and flat. There are about 20 Akuros on the barge and no lizard folk.
I don't like this. The elders
Are there any
not...
Are there any like indoor compartments or like inner workings to the ship, or is it just flat?
It's flat. There are some hammocks tied up between the rope lashings to the balloon. And there's you can see now the device that they use. They have a spire that's surrounded in some sort of material to keep the wind out of it. And there's a large crank on the side that lowers the fire so it gets further away from the opening to reduce the airspeed. And they can maneuver it up and down using this device. But other than that, there's no compartments. Everything's very visible.
Okay, cool.
But about 45 minutes of you watching this ship come in, it eventually pulls very gently onto the surf and comes to a rest on the beachhead. And a group of 3 of these Akuros that are adorned with vines woven into their braids, large breastplates of fish bones, and naturally occurring plant matter to make these very minimal garments. And I step out and look at the group of lizard folk and then very inquisitively look at the group of you. There is no tribute.
We were hoping that you may have some idea about that.
That's why we're
There have been complications.
What
No.
happened to those elders that went up with you 2 weeks back?
They kind of turn and start to chitter at each other in another language. It's incredibly foreign to you.
We don't know these elders you speak of.
The lizard folk?
We called
We went-
no meeting.
Oh, that's certainly interesting.
Can I look over at the lady that we were, what's her name?
Sharia.
Sharia, thank you.
Sharia looks very concerned.
Are you from Puriasura? They said the meat was in Puriasura.
I asked you that.
The meat?
What
What meat? Are we
The
talking
Velas told me that the meeting was in Puriasura,
about? Eating. Ah,
the summit, as it were. And I apologize, Maximiel. I pried last night and she managed to remember.
Oh, gotcha.
And the Akuros look back to each other.
Puriasura is not where we manage the tribute. We are from Atapia.
Could you possibly take us to Imperia Sura?
We can take you to Atapia, but there are many questions that must be answered now. The tribute is not here.
No,
No.
because the caravan's not here because the elders who were supposed to take the caravan to the meeting place never showed up.
with you. They sent one man through the desert to alert us of the situation that they could not send their caravan because their elders are supposedly with you people, and he was attacked and killed on the road by something.
Something
so here we are.
with claws and some sort of necrotic poison.
We have a lot of questions that need answering then.
As do we.
Don't we all?
We were hoping you'd have some more answers.
You must come with us, strange ones.
Can you promise our safe return?
Do not get yourself eaten by Simaposi if it awakes, then sure, yes, we will promise your safe return.
We'd hope that wouldn't be a worry.
Neither do we.
Just look at everybody else. I don't want to meet another dragon. Do you all want to meet another dragon?
I mean, I think it'd be cool, but I think I'm outvoted.
No one's outvoted in this group. That's not how it works.
We would meet with your elder to bless this journey.
And Sharia.
Well, Velis is not awoken yet, but
I can go try to wake her.
You should fetch her.
Very well. She heads off and
Well, I mean, you could try to bless it. I mean, if you're gonna be an
No.
elder soon.
I'm not the elder. Not until
Okay.
Velis dies or hands me the title willingly, and she will not while she's alive. It's too
I'm
much
gonna
of her.
follow her.
I was gonna say, can I walk with her?
Sure. You can walk with her. You guys make your way over to Velis's home. And it's pretty quiet from inside. She kind of raps on the door and peers in. Velis! It's time to awake. We need to bless the journey back. These travelers have many questions that need answers. Velis? Ooh, she's usually awake by now.
Are we breaking the door down?
We can open it. Where I don't know where it is. Like where you come from. She just kind of leans down and lifts up a little lever, and the door opens. It's a handle. You see, you lift
I'm
it.
familiar
and
with
it
how
opens.
handles work, but I wasn't sure.
As
if
she
you could
opens
lock
the
those
door,
doors.
I push through. Velas!
The main area is pretty empty. It's a small table. There seems to be some sort of holy book on one side with a censer that's burning some sort of incense. And you can see a mat kind of rolled out in the back room where her bed is, and there's a prayer space and some candles lit. And you can see one claw kind of laid out still on the floor.
Shit. As I see
I
that,
go
I
over and
immediately
check.
I want to look immediately at her. And like try and see if she is surprised at this.
She's looking around, kind of catches your gaze and looks over at it. Goes,
Can I insight check and see if it's genuine?
absolutely.
Meanwhile, Dick is just checking out these
Yes!
people.
Natural 20.
Yeah,
let's go!
Whoa. Mwah.
She begins trembling. Tears well in her eyes. And she's choking back sobs. Terrified and upset.
I'll just kind of like wrap my arm around her and kind of escort her back out the front door and just, my friend Doran will handle this. Come on, we need to go back.
Doran, there's a claw laying unmoving from the back room of a lizard folk shaman.
Did Velis die of natural causes?
I approach and I want to investigate the body.
I'm not going to need you to roll a check.
Okay.
You round the corner and get one look at the blood-stained shirt and trace up her chest to where the throat is cleanly cut and follow the neck up to the eyes and see where the right brow ridge has been separated cleanly and taken off of her face. And that's where we're gonna end tonight's session.
You son of a bitch!
Interesting.
The fangs. That's what the fangs do.
All right. Thanks,
So they're
everybody,
expanding their repertoire. Huh.
for a great session.
All right.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Thanks, guys. Doran's so upset.
Ah!
Oh, dang.
All right, guys. Thank you all for a wonderful session. David is out next week at a convention, David?
Yes, I'll be traveling back from Grand Rapids, Michigan, so I will not be here. I'll be flying while you guys are.
You're over by me. What?
Oh, no. You got to hurry over and see him. Oh, well, David, enjoy the convention next week. Thanks, everybody, for a wonderful game this week. I hope you guys enjoyed all the cool new stream stuff.
Very pretty. Love it.
It's very
So
pretty.
cool.
Love the
Um,
snow.
The snow is super cool. But thanks everybody for joining us this week. And we'll catch you next week. Sans David will autopilot Botrin, and we'll see David in a couple weeks. But thank you all very much, and we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Good
Take
night,
care.
everybody.
Bye, all.
All right, we're gonna let the thanks for watching run for a minute. Oh, I got myself unmuted. So bye again, everybody from the snow.